God has to sometimes break down before he can build up. Because see, all throughout the history of Israel, God, in his patience and kindness, has consistently drawn people to himself by lavishing mercy upon mercy, blessing after blessing, grace upon grace, and yet God's people had shown themselves to be incapable of knowing how to respond to God's kindness. They take God's mercy and patience and they worship false gods and idols instead. That's the point of Hosea. And so you could say that periodically God changes his strategy. Periodically, God allows sin to run its own course, to show people the depravity of their own condition, and to highlight their need for God. You see, for Israel, this is seen when God handed them over to Assyria and to Babylon. For us, this can be seen when God does not intervene in our destructive paths or patterns. This is seen when God allows us to have what we want, because what we want is exactly what ruins us. This is what happens. This is what it means for God to tear us apart or to injure us. He spells out the consequences of our sin and foolishness, and if we persist in that, He allows us to hurt ourselves in the process. But church, you see, the good news is, the promise is always that He will heal all who return to Him. He will bind up the weak and weary who have been disillusioned by the false promises of this world. He will warmly accept and cure all who have wandered from the path. He will tend to our pain and disappointments. He will rebuild us. This is for anyone who truly, humbly, and really repents of their sin and trust in Jesus. Don't you see? False repentance damages and destroys, but real repentance really restores.